where we starred Dolly Parton. We call it the Hunch Front of Notre Dame.
Waylon Jennings was a straight shooter. He never shied away from sharing his opinions on other country singers.
Well, you know about Charlie Daniels, taking a day job and everything like that, selling snuff.
Whether it was about someone who he thought was the greatest country singer ever, or another country legend who he called the most insincere person he had met. I miss the days when artists like Waylon weren't afraid to speak their mind. Starting off with Waylon's favorite, it was the great Keith Whitley, who passed away tragically at the very young age of 34.
Just minutes ago, Metro Medical Examiner Dr. Charles Harlan released an autopsy report on Whitley. He says the alcohol level in Whitley's blood was 0.47.
It was the 9th of May, 1989. Whitley's death shocked the entire nation. Just breaking out as one of the biggest names in country music, married to another country star, Lori Morgan, only 3 years before, and he had also recently become a father. Waylon's piano player and friend Barry Walsh decided to stop by at his house to check on him, knowing how much he loved Keith. The two watched the local news for a couple of hours, just taking it all in. Walsh recalled how Waylon was clearly shaken up by the developments.
He said, "Hoss, that was the greatest country singer ever." He was gutted. He was really upset about that death, as a lot of us were.
Just a month before Whitley's death, another emerging talent, Garth Brooks, released his debut album. And while the album was a huge success, reaching #2 on Billboard country album charts, Waylon was not at all impressed with Garth Brooks and his brand of music. Garth's explosion onto the country music scene in the 90s was met with mixed reactions, with some feeling his style leaned more towards pop than traditional country, Waylon being one of them. Although he never really confirmed it in public, many others in the country music world close to him knew how much he detested Brooks. One alleged quote from Waylon has become a part of country folklore. Garth Brooks did for country music what pantyhose did for finger fucking. While the source for this quote could not be verified, there was another quote from him which came from more reliable sources. As per Bruce Feiler's book, Dreaming Out Loud, Waylon had this to say about country's then new sensation: "He's the most insincere person I've ever seen. I remember a few years ago, an old buddy of mine who worked with Ernest Tubb was giving him an old record. He tried so hard to cry, but he just couldn't do it. He thinks it's going to last forever. He's wrong." Waylon couldn't have been more wrong about Garth not lasting forever, and Brooks himself knew that Jennings wasn't fond of him.
No, never met Mr. Jennings, and for some reason, man, I guess I was the guy that he targeted.
Waylon was a traditional country outlaw, and Garth was here to change everything we thought country music to be back then. The music, pop-like concert production, and the theatrics were something Waylon just couldn't get along with. Who do you think had the greatest impact on country music from these three? Let us know in comments, and please do hit the like and subscribe buttons before you go.
That's all, folks.